I love you. Woohoo! Hey, and welcome back, Couch Potatoes. We are here to talk another Disney film. I am the Green Traveler from Gorsh.
And I am the Faceless Leon. Yes, this is the Disney playlist. That is what our show is now. We are no longer Green and Faceless on the Couch. We are the Disney playlist.
They finally bought us out.
They finally bought us out? No, they didn't.
We're racking in the millions with this podcast now.
Man, that would be something. Maybe in 4 years. But probably not millions. I'm sure we'll make enough to maybe not have to work full time, but
maybe millions of pennies. That'd be nice.
Yeah, millions of pennies is still what, like $1,000 or something like that.
Yeah, probably. I don't want to do the conversion.
Actually, I think it's $10,000 a million pennies.
Yeah, if you remove two zeros, I think it would be 10,000. Yeah. Hey, I'd take that.
Yeah, so if you are interested in supporting us, join us at patreon.com/greenandfaceless.
Toss your pennies at us.
Toss your pennies.
Not your panties. Wow.
Toss a coin to your movie bitcher.
There you go. I like that. Yeah, that's what we are. We're movie bitchers. Did I ever tell you my plan if I ever won the lottery? I was asked this a lot when I worked at Target. The people I worked with, because I played the lottery a lot back then. I don't do it anymore. But back then, you're like, what are you going to do if you win? I was like, well, I mean, I'd keep about half of it, obviously. And, the other half I'd probably donate to charities, or, I'd come in and toss rolled up bundles of $1 bills at all the people I hate in here. And be like, I don't like you. And I'd just throw a whole $100 roll of ones at them.
I don't like you. Here, take this so I don't have to worry about it.
Well, then I'd turn around and I'd give the people I like $5,000, so it's just if you were nice to me, you could have had this. Instead, you're just getting $100 worth of ones. Yeah. Fucker. Yeah. And a bruise.
And that's what I give to the people I don't like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kill them with kindness. Well, let's do it. Let's talk. We're here today with The Great Mouse Detective, another Disney film that I have not ever watched.
Not ever.
Not ever. I don't remember this in the slightest, and I think I would because Sherlock Holmes is one of my favorite literary characters.
Right.
And this isn't technically Sherlock Holmes. This is Basil. What's his face?
It is. It didn't give his last name on here.
Oh, so he's just Detective Basil?
Just Basil the Mouse, maybe even.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
I mean, he's based off of he's based off of Sherlock, right. And his name comes from, I think his name's Basil Rathbone, who played Sherlock a long fucking time ago in the show and TV shows.
I bet you're right.
Yeah.
His character on the Wikipedia is Basil of Baker Street, and I think that's the only thing that they refer to him as in The Great Mouse Detective. Did you know
he's even in Baker Street? Gosh.
Yeah, did you know that this actually has several titles? So it's The Great Mouse Detective, and then when they re-released it in '92, the year I was born, because I guess it didn't do very well when it first came out, but anyhow,
it did much better than Black Cauldron. It was actually a huge increase from. I don't know if it made its money back, but it definitely was a boost from how badly Black Cauldron flopped.
Well, for some reason, they did another theatrical release in '92, and it was called The Adventures of the Great Mouse Detective instead. And then in other countries, in some other countries, it's called Basil the Great Mouse Detective. And Basil, for any of those who care, is Basil, but they say Basil over the pond, and it is also a name.
Not to be confused with rosemary or herb.
Yeah, or herb. So
herb.
This is based off of the novels called Basil of Baker Street. No, well, yes, by extension. And Sherlock Holmes is actually it's in the same world as Sherlock Holmes. In the books, they live in his cellar. All the mice, the entire community is in Sherlock Holmes' cellar. Christ. But
he's got a massive rodent problem.
Yes, he's got a really bad rodent problem. But if you remember Robert Downey Jr. playing the violin for those flies, I could imagine him doing
yeah, he's like a Pied Piper. I like it.
Yeah.
As long as he doesn't troll those little kids.
So I don't know how Basil got a violin small enough, but he has all the traits of our great detective of the human
I feel
world.
like he has all the physical traits. I feel like his mental sleuth abilities, while they do come together occasionally, are not at all really on display in this movie.
At least not in the movie. Yeah, like it's more of him bumbling through. He does the I just met you and I know all these things about you thing a couple times.
Yep. And
but
like
that's
one scene, like they do the iconic Watson meeting Holmes scene. Who's their Watson again? It's not his name's not Watson.
Yes, the name is Dawson. It's
Dawson.
Dr. David Q. Dawson. At least in the books,
it's
David Q. Dawson. He might have said something else. But Dawson is played by Val Bettin. Basil by Barry Ingham.
Thank you. Yeah, and they do that iconic scene of the two meeting where in the books, in the short stories, if you never read, the short stories are written by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Absolutely fun. They're a lot of fun. They're really good mysteries. A little dry. They do tend to go on for a while sometimes. But the very first time Sherlock meets Watson, he's just like, "Oh, you're a doctor from Afghanistan, or you're, you come back from Afghanistan. You're a wounded doctor. You're no longer in service." And Watson's like, "How the fuck do you know all this?" And he's just like, "Well, you got dirt from there, this thing here, that thing there." And he's just like, "You smell like this, and clearly you're smoking a pipe that could only be bought from like Afghanistan."
All right,
they do almost the exact same thing.
You fixed your coat with a stitch that only doctors use.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just the exact same scene. And I do appreciate them doing that. That said, that was like one of the reasons I know I never watched this, is because I would have remembered that. I would have picked up on this movie as a kid because I fucking loved Sherlock.
Right.
Coming back to it as an adult, having seen so many different adaptations and having read all the freaking stories, it was all right.
Fair enough.
But let's get into the mystery of this one, because they have a sinister villain, Professor Ratigan, whose plot I don't quite remember. He steals a toy maker?
Yes, he steals a toy maker named Flaversham, who Basil can never remember the name of, and he's played by Alan Young.
The voice of Scrooge McDuck.
Yep, definitely is Scrooge McDuck for sure. He gets abducted by Ratigan's lackey, and Ratigan, just to put it out there, is Vincent Price. And
yes, oh my god,
yes, and his lackey Fidget is a bat who has a mutilated wing and a peg leg, and he's played by Candy Candido, and Candy Candido's been with Disney pretty much since the beginning. He had a credit in Snow White, Snow White, excuse me, Sleeping Beauty. They're the same story, though. We all know that.
They really are. Yeah.
And he's been in so many things. Like he, I believe, was the chief of the tribe in Peter Pan. Yep. And he's been in so many things. He finally gets a primary role in this as Fidget, and I do like the addition of Fidget.
Yeah.
He's not, at least from what I can tell, was not in the children's books.
No, two issues I have with this story though are it's very strong. I mean, they're the exact same issue. It's related way too much to the Rescuers in regards to its story, and in regards to how they did some of the joke characters, it's related way too much to Black Cauldron, because Fidget really is just it's not Gula.
Like Creeper. You think he's kind of like Gertie?
Gertie, yeah, he's the weird creature who just kind of makes sounds and everybody kind of laughs at. But he's for the villain in this one.
Yeah, if you were gonna mix Gertie and Creeper, who I don't think we really talked about, he's a little green goblin, and
right,
the Black Cauldron. If you mix them together, then yes, you definitely have Fidget.
Yeah, and I do love Fidget. I will say that. It's not a big issue. It really isn't.
Right.
But it did when I was watching. I was like, okay, you're just the exact same character, basically. It's just you're working for Vincent Price now.
Right.
Which I gotta say also, to give Vincent Price the huge boon that he's amazing.
Yeah.
And yet again, Disney got a great fucking voice for their villain. I love him as Ratigan. It was so fun.
Yes. So Ratigan wants to be this like prim and proper guy in mouse society, but he is a rat, and he won't let anybody call him a rat. He's very vicious, but that kind of like gentlemanly, super smart villain.
Right. He literally feeds his henchmen who fail him to a cat.
Yes, he sure does.
Which, again, when those scenes happen, there's a couple scenes in this movie where it's not nearly as dark as Black Cauldron, but there are still some scenes in this film where when they happen, I was like, Jesus, Disney, like, is this for kids? Like, come on.
And what's also funny about Ratigan is his name is Ratigan in the books, but he is a mouse in the books.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that was just a Disney ad. And I think it made for really, like, really fun jokes throughout the show. Yeah, and he definitely is a menacing looking villain compared to the mice heroes, because he's much bigger than them, like 3 times larger.
Yeah, and he has like an always. It's not actually a 5 o'clock shadow, but he has like an always existent 5 o'clock shadow look. So yeah,
because mice need to shave.
Apparently.
You know what? Flaversham has a big mustache.
That is true. Yeah.
Okay, so Flaversham gets abducted from his home and toy shop. And before that happens, he was smart enough to have his daughter, Olivia, hide in a cabinet. And she just barely sees the bat and his peg leg. And it was enough information after Dawson found her, and then they mutually found Basil for Basil to know who was behind the abduction.
Yeah, and to cut in there, the intro was the funniest fucking thing ever. I was laughing I had to pause the movie and laugh for like 5 minutes. It is a very heavy scene where you have this cutesy moment between father and daughter. The Flavershams are just kind of like in the shop, just being a cute little father-daughter pair. And then Ratigan's henchmen break in, destroy everything, and the daughter's hiding, like you said, and Flaversham gets kidnapped, and he's taken away, and she runs out of her hiding spot, and she looks out into the empty London air, and she's just like, "No, Dad, no!" And it zooms out from the house. And then there's the most cheerful music as they show the Great Mouse Detective title card. It was so funny. It was such a sad scene, and it's just like, dun 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 dun. I'm just like, what the fuck just happened?
You know what's funny is that I when that happened thought, oh, that's a pretty good, memorable tune, but I did not remember it.
I don't remember it. What I put forth is not at all what it is. I just know that it was a very jolly and cheerful, uplifting kind of sound, and I was just like, what just happened? The girl's father just got kidnapped, and she's devastated and alone.
Yeah.
Why are we playing happy music?
Oh, man.
Very weird intro.
I just wanted to say that I really enjoyed when Dawson found her, and how sweet he is. Toward Olivia, and how just the opposite Basil is. He just absolutely hates children. And he develops more throughout the show and comes to really care for Olivia, and that it's really, really sweet to watch.
Right. And to give what's Basil's actor's name?
Barry Ingham.
Barry Ingham. Thank you. To give him his credit, he was chosen within 6 minutes of his audition. So many people, tried out for this role, and there were a lot of people. Apparently, Barry's was so freaking good that they actually used part of his audition and put that in the final cut of the film.
Wow.
Because he was just, he was really well read, I guess, in his audition. They were just super wild. So, that's amazing. And I did a little bit of digging into him. His second ever acting credit was in Doctor Who and the Daleks, which is a non-canon Doctor Who film that stars Peter Cushing as the Doctor. It's not canon with the show at all. but I haven't watched it, but I've always wanted to. But I thought that was just hilarious when I pulled up Barry Ingham. I was like, I don't even know this guy, and I like click on his name and his second credit, Doctor Who and the Daleks. I'm like, oh,
nice.
All right then.
Well, maybe when you get to that point in your Doctor Who playlist, we can watch it together.
I'm probably completely wrong about this, but I think it came out during the first Doctor's tenure. I think that was hitting. Yeah, I think it was hitting the television shows, and BBC wanted to do some, like, movie version of it. You know, kind of like almost the exact opposite of Stargate, where they made a movie of Stargate, and they're like, well, let's make a TV show out of it. I think it was, like, the flip of that.
And we'll get some people to play the same characters, except for the main characters.
I was going to say, I don't even know if Doctor Who and the Daleks, that is, I don't know if Doctor Who and the Daleks even has any of, like, strong ties to the show. I've never seen it. I don't know. But Peter Cushing's fucking brilliant, so like that's a great choice as the Doctor. It just never happened in the show's canon.
We will. I think we should cover it sometime. Just for funsies.
I would definitely be interested. But Barry, with the help of Basil and crew, alongside Dawson and Olivia, they use Toby the Basset Hound to track down Professor Ratigan. And a fun fact about Toby the Basset Hound, I mentioned last episode that Frank Welker was in The Great Mouse Detective. Well, he was the dog voice for... Well, there's no voice for Toby, but he was the dog sounds for Toby the Basset Hound.
He's also Felicia the cat.
Is he really?
Yeah, he is.
I didn't know that. The only credit I saw was his Toby as Basset Hound. That was great. He does great sounds, like voice work. I love Frank Welker. He's one of the best out there. So like, it was nice that he had some kind of role in this.
So, I'm kind of wary as to explain exactly what Ratigan's plan is, because it is like halfway through the movie that they reveal exactly what it is.
Yeah, I think we can keep that covered. But he is basically, he's like they're trying to make him like a Moriarty kind of character.
Right, that's who he's based off of.
But he's also slightly like the made for the movie character in the first Robert Downey Jr. Lord Blackwood, I think his name is.
Yeah, I do get that feel from him. Definitely, especially with what his plan is. It is kind of similar to what Blackwood's plan, except for there's no magic.
I wonder if Guy Ritchie was just like watched The Great Mouse Detective and was like, "Ooh, this is good. I can do this.
I could do that. I could make that better." Which I do like that movie much better than this one. Yeah. Not that I didn't like this movie. It's a fine.
I'm in agreement. He just needs to release the third one so we can just do a goddamn trilogy triumvirate.
Damn it! Didn't we already talk about
Guy Ritchie?
Yeah, we did. We did talk about the first one.
Did we? Oh, well, yeah, I don't remember it, but like, hell, I mean, I'm willing to talk about it again. He just has to put... Oh, yeah, we did that Sherlock threesome, that's right.
Yes, because we talked about Enola... Because we really wanted to talk about Enola Holmes, I think was what the deal was. And then we also talked about Mr. Holmes, which I really liked that one. That one surprised me. But it wasn't really a mystery. I'll say that. Secret review that we already reviewed.
But no, with The Great Mouse Detective, it's very enjoyable. At the same time, as much of a Sherlock lover as I am, it's not one of my favorite adaptations of the character. But that doesn't mar it from not being a good, all those double negatives in that sentence. Jesus. That doesn't mar it from being a good family film. It's definitely it's a step up from the Black Cauldron, where, Black Cauldron will terrify your fucking kids. This one at least will it should impress them.
I would say that the Black Cauldron, though, is a good introduction to fantasy.
Yeah, definitely.
But, you might want your kid to be, 12 first.
My judgment on, what kids should see is very skewed, because at a very young age, I watched Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And I remember my mom, being like, cover his eyes. And my dad's like, we had the fucking videotape. He's just gonna put it in and watch it later.
Yeah. I know I did. Every time they fast forwarded through a scene, I was like, I'm just gonna watch it later. Why are you doing this?
Yeah. It's just my judgment is skewed, because I'm of the opinion that if kids are curious about something, you should let them know what it is. Yeah. That's how I am.
Sure. I mean, neither of us are fathers, but...
No. Or not in any way, no. And like, I know also that could be very detrimental, I guess, to their psyche. But I don't know. There's some movies I don't think are that dark. There's some films that could be scary enough for kids, but they can still enjoy it, and it's like a good stepping stone.
You should preview any movie and decide.
Exactly.
Especially anything that was made before 95, I feel like, because
especially before the code came out.
Yes. Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. But that was
you want to sit your kid down for a very boring.
At this point, 85 or whatever they made this movie in, that was 86. That was years ago.
All right, son, we're gonna watch Metropolis. It's my favorite silent film.
I don't get it, Dad. Why aren't
Shut
they
up
talking?
Shut up.
Secret review of
God,
Metropolis.
Can you imagine trying to show a kid a silent film like
No. Nosferatu really though might work because of the eeriness of it. Like I could see myself as a kid being like, "Oh my god." But I wouldn't read the subtitles because I couldn't really read until I was about 12, so.
Yeah. But The Great Mouse Detective, I guess, I mean, we've kind of covered what we wanted to through the plot. I don't think there's much more.
Think so?
Yeah, but the one big thing to talk about is this is, as we talked about with Black Cauldron, it was the first one to use CGI. This is the first to use extensive CGI. They have an entire scene that's all CGI, and it is the climactic scene. Yes,
Big Ben.
Big Ben. Thank you. I was like, Ben Tower. I was like, it's not Ben Tower. Big Ben. Doctor Who destroyed it in like season 2 of New Who, so I don't remember.
So it doesn't exist to you anymore because it's
done. It's destroyed in my reality. But it's a very exciting scene, and it's a pretty good climactic scene. Like I love their use of the CGI because it feels very fluid. It moves really well, I guess. Like the whole movie is great animation, but like when you get to that scene, it makes the action more gripping.
Right. Even that like panning, like they pan while the gears are moving. It makes it feel epic. I think it's a good scene. And I mean, like, obviously they're mice inside this giant gears work. I mean, those gears are huge compared to people. So like I think I thought it was pretty cool. And even this is less in the CGI realm, but I really liked the balloons under the Union Jack that they used. And also like the biggest matchbox ever. Like, we used to, my dad, when he would buy matches, bought the big boxes, but not that big. I mean, even.
That was like a deck of cards.
No, but it was bigger than that. It was like the deck of cards that you buy for people who are blind.
or like the Phase 10 deck of cards.
Yes, yeah.
Just that big brick.
It was huge.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. But it's I don't know. There's not much more I want to say about it, I guess.
Let me say this then. If you've seen this movie and you're interested in the books, there are let's see here, 7 books currently, and there is an 8th actually that is supposed to come out.
God, they're still writing books for this?
Well, so there was a large break between. So let's see here. I think they put them in chronological order on Wikipedia. It started in 1958, Basil of Baker Street, written by Eve Titus and illustrated by Paul Galden. And together they also did Basil and the Cave of Cats in 1971, Basil in Mexico in 1976, Basil in the Wild West in 1982, and Basil and the Lost Colony in 1964, which I don't know, that seems a little off. Maybe that's just how it is chronologically, And then in 2018, it got picked up by a different publisher, and the writer was Kathy Hapka and illustrated by David Mortram. And they did Basil and the Big Cheese Cook-Off, and and Basil and the Royal Dare. And apparently there is something that was either slotted to come out in 2020 or it's still in the process. The date on it is 2020 and it's called Basil and the Library Ghost. So maybe that got postponed because of the pandemic. I don't know. I didn't look too deep in it, but it has a title, no synopsis of the story. But apparently there's a ghost in a library. So if you're interested, they're still making these books.
And if you're also interested, just read Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's Sherlock stories.
That's true. Oh, I did want to say, since you mentioned Basil Rathbone, they do use his voice in the movie.
Yeah.
For Sherlock.
I don't know how I feel about that.
It was an archive sound, so it wasn't actually him.
Because it's just like, it's posthumous. The guy's dead.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's a weird ground to walk on in that area where it's just like, do you use the dead or do you just leave their stuff lie? But I mean, if you just leave their stuff lie, we wouldn't have gotten Leia in The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
But, and again, that's very questionable usage.
Or in Rogue One.
Or in Rogue One. That's right, they did do Tarkin. Oh, and they used younger Leia. Yeah. Hey, Peter Cushing, Tarkin. Yeah. We brought it back around.
All right, so what's your closing statement on The Great Mouse Detective?
Yeah, I give it 2.5 stars. It's a decent film. It's enjoyable enough. I don't regret not watching it as a kid, honestly. I mean, I guess actually I kind of do. If I had watched it as a kid, I would have enjoyed it a lot more.
Yeah, probably.
But, with the interpretations of Sherlock that I've gotten, I enjoy Benedict Cumberbatch's take. I think he did a great job, but, like, nobody does it better than Robert Downey Jr. I don't care what you say. People. I'm
sure the English disagree with you.
But that's the thing. If they've read the books, they want it. He literally gets the personality that's presented in the books down pat. And, like, he gets all of the shit that his character is known for down pat. The only thing is he's just slightly comical. But, like, the interpretation of him as, like, a dry, musty, like, yes, I'm a detective. That just comes from the shows. It comes from the television show. Right. Like, his deer hat, him always having a giant, not microscope, but,
eyeglass,
spyglass, yeah,
whatever,
spyglass, or whatever. Yeah, he always him having that all comes from the shows. The character that Robert Downey Jr. puts on, almost perfect in my opinion, from what I've read in the books. Like it's great.
Glass.
So I did have it right then.
Okay, wow. I don't know what you said.
Well, I said magnifying glass to start with, and I was like, no, that doesn't sound right. That sounds like, or maybe I said microscope. I might have said microscope.
You said microscope.
Yep.
Yeah.
There we go.
We're so smart.
But yeah, I recommend The Great Mouse Detective for a family film if you want to introduce them to Sherlock Holmes or just detective fiction. It's a decent one for that.
I mean, definitely in other adaptations of Sherlock Holmes, there's definitely some dark stuff, and there's some dark stuff in here. We didn't really mention the tavern or pub scene where there's a woman who literally says, "I will take off all my clothes for you," or something like that.
Let me be your friend.
Yeah.
She's the whole song I think is titled "Let Me Be Your Friend." It was scandalous.
Yes, and as an adult, I thought it was fun, I guess, but I mean, it was kind of sexy and like,
were you rock hard?
No. Not for the mice. That's a special chapter of furryism right there is
yes, it
for
is.
The mice. I'm more of a cat
I guess
person.
I don't know, actually thinking back to Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, like I had a fascination for Gadget. So
yeah.
I think I could have enjoyed this film quite a lot as a kid.
Big Disney fans here. Big Disney fan. So I will give it a face. It's not my favorite movie, but I enjoyed watching it. I think I was an adult also the first time I watched it. I think it was after Disney Plus existed. So, but, who knows? I might have watched it and just kind of forgot about it. It's not the most memorable Disney movie. It definitely reads as a Disney movie, whereas The Black Cauldron just does not.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair. It definitely seems more in tune with the rest of this era so far.
Right. All the rest of them are all animal stories except for this one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So,
but that's the show.
Yeah.
I've been the Green Traveler from Gorsh. Thanks for listening, everybody. I love you.
Aw, he does. And I love you too. I'm the Faceless Leon. Safe travels and good night. Green and Faceless on the Couch is a proud production of Fiction Works 19. If you like the show, please show your support by rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. Like, follow, subscribe, wherever you might listen. We also now have a Patreon account. If you feel so inclined to support us in a financial manner, please become a patron by visiting patreon.com/greenandfaceless. You can also find more information about us on our Facebook account or on the FictionWorks 19 Instagram account. Thank you so much for listening.